ancestral meaning systems and connections to our ancestry and our ancestors actually allows us to access depth knowledge that we do not attend to. We may all be aware of that depth knowledge, and one of the things, and the unconscious also allows that intuitive thinking. It allows us to access information, and I think that often we are aware of information. The thought that comes to mind is the elephant in the room. What has been swept underneath the carpet? I cannot think of more examples now because I'm too anxious. And I think that through our ancestry and through our ancestors gives us access to that information if we would just speak it. The unconscious gives us access to that information if we would just speak it, but that we know that that information is there and that we have a shared understanding of that information and knowledge. That is sometimes just unspeakable to us as people, because maybe the knowledge is so far reaching that we don't want to work with it.
Because of the dominant culture that is currently in corporate, right? It just seems as if there's a lot of shame connected to the stories of the ancestors, the stories of the culture, the way we've been socialized. Therefore, I don't step into my authority. I've been socialized into know your place. I think somebody said that earlier. And therefore, there's a lot of deauthorizing as opposed to authorizing the self within these contexts. And within my coaching, I find that a lot. I find that a lot within group dynamics amongst people, because people don't feel authorized to take up the authority. So I think there is a lot of work to be done around, like you are saying, accessing also the good, and not see it as a shame in the way we've been socialized because of the dominant culture, I think, that is still reigning in organizations.
I think that there, for me, system psychodynamics and group relations is part of the bigger system psychodynamic theory. What it brings is that it allows us to move from the personal individual to the group and to the organization. And of course, you were moving between the two, Omfumetse, but in the end, you remained with the individual. And what is so important, if we bring in the systems theory within that is part of group relations, is that we can begin to think that the very woman that struggles with taking up her leadership and taking up her authority, that struggle does not only belong to her. She is merely carrying it on behalf of the system. And if she can think about where else to, and we speak about that as being projected onto her, but if we can begin, if she and we all can begin to think about where else can we find that struggle? We find that struggle in other women, in men. We find that struggle. We find that struggle not just on the senior position, but we find the struggle at for lack of a better word, let's say blue collar positions, etc., etc. So what group relations and group relations conferences do for us is to think about what belongs to me and what also belongs to the system and those within the system. And I'm not sure how ancestral meaning systems and ancestors then helps us with that thinking, but I have a feeling that it does, because ancestral meaning systems contain knowledge that is there forever. If we follow on the work of Mutwa and other theorists, or people speaking about ancestral meaning systems. So I think what I find in group relations conferences is that I am relieved that I do not need to be the carrier of that struggle, of that difficulty, and so on and so on.